Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. The ACC has got to produce somebody in the college football playoff. It's been one of the stories over the last couple of weeks is trying to figure this out because everybody's seemingly alive in the chase. And here we are late in November. Last week of the regular season is coming up next week. Crazy. Bill Bender's with us from Sporting News to see if we can sort this all out. And Bill, we may get some clarity tonight as Florida State takes on NC State at 8 p.m. Eastern. A very remote chance, I would say, that either of these two teams represent the ACC in the college football playoff, but it's not impossible. Florida State tonight, 5.5-point favorites on the road at the Wolfpack. The total is 59.5. I really just don't have a ton of confidence in Florida State, but NC State, they had their chances too and seemingly blew it, Bill. I don't know. Which way do you go here tonight?
There's always something to play for. And in this game, absolutely, you've got two teams looking for bowl eligibility, as strange as that sounds. For Florida State, they get a win here, play Florida next week. You build a little bit of momentum. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Mike Norvell's job security. I think if they get these next two wins, get to 7-5, that is a 5-win improvement from last year, believe it or not. And with all of the movement in the coaching carousel, maybe Florida State isn't one of those places that opens up.
Norvell 38-32, and you're right, they'll be favored tonight. They'll be favored against the Gators, but as we know, that matchup could go sideways. We will see. No college football appearances. That really hurts Norvell's resume at the end of the season, and I do think if they lose one of the next two, he's going to probably need to find another gig. That's my guess, Bill. Okay, so Miami, the 13th ranked team in the country, and a lot of crying and complaining that they could be on the outside looking in of the college football playoff because they beat Notre Dame. But yet, Notre Dame has wins against better teams. Miami's going to beat Virginia Tech this week. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Next week, I'd be a little more concerned. But Miami takes on Va Tech on the road. Virginia Tech hired James Franklin, so he'll be in the house but not coaching. Virginia Tech just wants to end the season as softly as they can, Bill. 18.5 is the line this week. I mean, I've seen Miami lose some games they're supposed to win, but I don't think that's happening this week.
I don't either. And you mentioned the argument, the one that's going to overtake the next 2 weeks, Miami and Notre Dame head-to-head. The Hurricanes won. Irish are playing better. So what better way to force that than have Miami blow the doors off Virginia Tech tonight or tomorrow? Kyron Drones, Virginia Tech's quarterback, 50% completion percentage in the last 2 games. Miami with that running game defense. I think their best bet, Craig, is to pour it on. So I actually like them to cover here and put up a big number, make their case that way, because we know recency and bias always affects the committee.
Yeah, I agree. They got to get it going here the last couple of weeks. Okay, so if Miami wants any shot to be in the college football playoff, they need Pitt to win this week. That's for sure. Pitt takes on Georgia Tech. It is possible. But, Pitt could jump over Miami. Who knows? Right now, the Yellow Jackets, 2.5-point favorites. I haven't seen a 3, Bill, all week. So this sort of tells you it's kind of an even matchup. Total of 61.5. Some people feel it goes down to the wire here. Yellow Jackets haven't been in this position in years. Can they pull this one off this week and make their claim?
If I had an upset call this week, is it an upset if Pitt wins? I mean, I know how they looked against Notre Dame last week. I understand that, but they still have a tough run defense. The most rushing yards they've allowed in a game is 175, and Georgia Tech is so dependent on that running game around Haynes King. I know they're at home. I know this is an opportunity for the Yellow Jackets to clinch their spot in Charlotte, but I don't like their defense the last 2 weeks either. So I do think this is going to be a game that typifies what the ACC has been all season: wild, unpredictable, lack of defense when you need it. And I like Pitt to pull out a small upset and make that Miami game even bigger next week.
It could be, yeah. And if you look at the odds, too, you can't rule out SMU. SMU is plus 480 to win. They beat Miami head-to-head during the regular season already. So that's why their odds are right there. And I mean, don't rule them out also winning the ACC. Honestly, you could make a case for Virginia, Georgia Tech, SMU, Miami, and Pitt. If Pitt was to win this week, I think Duke a little bit more of a long shot there. Okay, so let's break this game down. Probably the game of the week of college football. USC against Oregon. USC, fantastic job over the past month putting themselves in this position. Oregon is not this juggernaut Oregon team that we've seen in the past putting up 50s and 60s, Bill. It's just not happening. They're still very good. They're 9.5-point favorites this week, and the total is 59.5. I've seen a lot of people think USC could go in and win this game outright. I don't know about that, but would you take the points here with the Trojans? They played probably the better football here recently.
They have, but I still trust Oregon's defense. They've only allowed 11.5 points per game since the loss to Indiana. I think Oregon's kind of been undervalued because of that loss to Indiana. They are at home. This is a mulligan for them of sorts with game day coming in, a chance to clinch a playoff spot. I do think it's going to be a tight game in the first half, but I absolutely could see Oregon scoring one of those cosmetic touchdowns that puts them over the spread. I've been on the Ducks all week. I'm not going to waver from it, with the understanding that, yes, Jaden Mayava and USC have played a lot better and they're playing for their playoff life. I still like Oregon at home.
Michigan's path to the college football playoff is very clear. They have to beat Maryland this week, and then they have the showdown with Ohio State next week. It's going to be hard to not include them, Bill, if they win the next two games. This week, on paper, seems to be an easy one, but Michigan hasn't had the best of luck in some of these easier games. They've been closer. They're on the road at Maryland Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. The danger would be a look ahead here, I suppose.
Yeah, and they haven't been good against the spread on the road. They've only covered one time all season. And last week it was lucky to get out of Wrigley Field with 5 turnovers to beat Northwestern with the last second field goal. And they have injuries at running back. They're down to their 3rd and 4th running back if Jordan Marshall doesn't play. But I still like the Wolverines to win. But if you're looking for like a cover, Maryland typically does this once a year where they put an upset bid into the 4th quarter and can't quite finish it. But I could see Michigan winning here, but not quite covering. That's a huge spread for a team that struggled on the road all year.
Boy, Ohio State sure seems like the best team in college football, and their odds are as short as they've been all season, plus 185, Bill, to win the national championship. A&M took that little hit in the odds last week with the close game that they played. Notre Dame can run the ball, but could they do a lot more? Georgia's still lurking, but man, hard to look outside of Ohio State right now.
If you're going to take a shot on somebody else, take it on Georgia. They've played enough big games. They've played well in the clutch, and Gunnar Stockton's good. That's the only other team I'm looking at, Craig.